Thank you.
You are live.
All right, I'm calling this meeting to order at 10:35. This is an informal meeting of the Student Advisory Committee as we do not have quorum. Still, I'll go through roll call now. Starting with Asnuntuck, Capital, Gateway, Housatonic,
Antonia Oglesby representing Housatonic.
Manchester, Middlesex, Naugatuck, Northwestern, Norwalk, Quinnebog Valley, Three Rivers. Oh, nice. Thank you. Three Rivers, Tungus, Central,
Kelly Parody, SAC Rep for CCSU Central.
Eastern, Southern. I'm here representing Western, Audrey Nielsen, Charter Oak. All right. We do not have quorum, so we are meeting unofficially, but we can roll through some of our discussions. We cannot approve prior minutes meetings, and we cannot appoint a secretary, but we can have a general discussion about the SAC report. Who is the call-in user for this meeting? Okay. Well, if anybody has anything they want to share, suggestions that they have for inclusion of the SAC report, you can suggest those now.
Audrey, this is Kelly. Did we send out that report for everyone to look at?
We don't have it finished yet, but we will.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
Definitely
apologize.
send it out to everyone, but it'll also be available in the materials for the BOR meeting that it is presented in, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you.
Does anyone have any suggestions that we haven't discussed in the past of things that you think need to be included in this year's SAC report?
Audrey, maybe it would be helpful to share previous year's reports with the callers at some point, or provide them the draft once it's been compiled. I'm not sure how many people on the call are familiar with the report and what it contains before it goes to the board.
So we've shared some of the prior reports in the Google Docs that we shared earlier this semester, but I can send you all an email if you want to take a look at it. Speaking now, not just to the one person that we have on the call, but to anyone who's watching the recording later on. Additionally, we'll include every major point of discussion that we've covered this semester. So we will talk about the expansion of food insecurity resources across campuses, the establishment of a standard for mental health resources, particularly with the new setup for the one college, and anything that is sent in to myself or to Tony for inclusion from SAC members. This is a report that is given to the Board of Regents directly regarding advice and suggestions and concerns from the student reps.
Okay, and just as a reminder, Audrey, that report is due to me tomorrow, 1 week before the board meeting. by close of business, by 5 tomorrow, so that it can be packaged up with the rest of the board materials going out to them on Friday morning.
Yes. So if you have any suggestions for things that need to be included, which we've called for at every one of our meetings for the last couple of months, they need to be sent in to us by today, I would say by midnight. Does anyone have anything that they want to suggest for inclusion in our report?
Audrey,
Audrey,
maybe,
I can send you some stuff. I can text you some ideas.
Audrey, maybe you want to talk about the vaccine requirement for students. It looks like it's likely to pass based on the executive meeting that happened this morning.
Yep, that's the next piece of business after the SAC report. So are you saying that we should move out of this business?
Or maybe if the group wants to include the support of the vaccine requirement for students in the SAC report, I'm sure the Board of Regents would love to hear that in support of the working group, if that's something that you guys wanted to agree to or share with that, share in the report with regard to that.
Yes, I was going to include it in the report. If we had had a history of quorum for this semester, I likely would have held a vote to officially endorse it as the SAC. Given that we haven't had quorum from all of the colleges, I'm not comfortable putting it forward that strongly. But I was a member of the vaccine working group, and I will include my observations from that working group. And in general, it would be beneficial to hear from Kelly and from Tony and from anyone else attending today. But since we do not have the majority voice of all of the schools, we're kind of hobbled on that one.
Audrey, this is Kelly. I'll email you a quick snapshot about how I feel about that based on our previous conversation a couple weeks ago, if you're interested in that.
And thank you for meeting with me on that.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
In general, I will move now into new business. I can give you guys some information on the vaccine working group. So this was a working group asked for by Dr. Gates following Professor Blitz's discussion at our previous Board of Regents meeting on the potential of a vaccine requirement for the new semester for the whole system. Dr. Gates asked Blitz to put together a group that would put together a proposal for the Board of Regents. That proposal went through today for the executive committee. Just a few summarized notes on that process. We essentially worked together, myself and a number of faculty members from the different schools, as well as one general law expert who is also a member of faculty, where we discussed limitations and benefits and cons to a vaccine requirement for returning students and potentially for employees and other issues. We did have a change from the original suggestion that we put forward, and that is a specific recognition of 2 exemptions, medical and non-medical exemptions. And that was passed down through the Attorney General's office as a requirement that needed to be in the vaccine requirement. My expectation is that implementation shouldn't be too bad because UConn recently implemented their vaccine requirement. And I worked on research on other universities and other systems. That was my role in the working group, and public university systems very similar to ours and public college systems very similar to ours in other states did succeed in announcing and implementing a vaccine requirement. If one of you attended the special committee, we assume that it would move forward, but if you have any additional information that you could share with us, that would be helpful, or we can wait for
I can give you an update on what was covered, if you'd like, Audrey, from this morning's meeting.
That'd be excellent.
Okay. The board, Chair Fleury, recognized the work of of Dr. Blitz's working group, which you were a member of. However, at this time, the board took action only on one policy, and that is to limit the immunization requirements to students only. And that is only for this point in time, simply because of time. We need to in order to require unionized employees to be vaccinated, we have to receive consent from each of the employee bargaining units. So today's action is only to address vaccination requirements for students. So that was put forth. In addition, the second action is to authorize our new CSCU president to create the process and procedures to mitigate the spread of COVID that may result from unvaccinated employees, vendors, and visitors. So the board is in support of vaccination for both students and employees, vendors, and visitors, but can, at this point in time, can only require vaccines for students. And we're continuing to work on the policies and procedures to get the rest of the people who want to be on our CSCU campuses, get those procedures handled in a timely manner. So essentially that was what was put forth for full consideration at next week's board meeting. Questions?
That's excellent to hear. I think we anticipated that any employee requirements would have to go through the bargaining units. But just to clarify in the most simple language, it did go through the requirement for students returning for this next year?
Yes, the resolution addresses that policy, that it will be required for students with the exception of any, as you said, medical or non-medical exemptions.
What were those non-medical or medical exemptions that were put forward?
I don't have that detail. That, as Audrey indicated, that came from was it the Attorney General's office? Audrey?
The Attorney General's office gave guidance that there needed to be some requirement, but I think we're still waiting for some clarification as to what non-medical exemption entails. Because if it's a free-for-all, obviously it defeats the purpose of the requirement. So that's something that we're going to have to hear more
Right.
about from the committee.
And those will be fleshed out with the procedures that will be communicated to the campuses and to the students. And that will be on the list of items to be worked on as we roll it out. But this is a policy from the board in support of student vaccinations before returning in the fall.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any further questions about this? If any occur to you after the meeting, you're welcome to send myself or any of the representatives of the systems office if you have questions to get clarified. Those were all of our discussion points for today. If anyone has anything else, speak now or hold your peace, and I will call this meeting to a close. All right, as this is an unofficial meeting and we do not have quorum, I'm calling this meeting to a close at 10:49 a.m.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'll end the live stream right now. Hold on, please.